Hey, quick disclaimer, my conversation with Gary Vee, we did this right after the NFL draft and right after the Knicks beat the Sixers, so we're running it a few weeks later, so excuse the non-timeliness of those conversations. I'm here with one of the smartest guys in the room, whatever room he's in. Gary Vaynerchuk is kind of a legend at this point. He is the CEO of VaynerMedia. He's the chairman of VaynerX. He's probably, I would say, the leading mind on what the fuck is going to happen next. I think I just kind of summed it up. He's got something like 45 million followers across his platforms, 300 million impressions every month. He's got a new book out. It'll be a bestseller. Just about every one of his 7 books has been a bestseller. This is the 7th. Day Trading Attention, How to Actually Build Brand and Sales in a New Social Media World. As an old media world guy, I'm excited to talk to him. Gary, how you doing, my friend?
I'm well, brother. You look great, by the way.
Thank you. I'm trying. 67. It's no joke.
You really look
Thank
great.
you.
Jesus.
Thank you. Meanwhile, let's talk to
What are you giving people stress instead of taking it?
Yeah, I don't. You know what it is? I'm not in the agency business anymore. That's why. Like, I don't have to sit those 3.5 hour client meetings when I know how they're going to end in 90 seconds, and I want to blow my fucking brains out. You know.
I literally was just in a meeting 2 hours ago and said to a client, the reason I usually leave meetings is if I already know the outcome, what am I doing?
And you always do. And by the way, meetings, they're like particles and atoms. I love when they schedule meetings 2 hours. If you scheduled it for 15 minutes, not only would you save an hour and 45 minutes, you'd probably get better, faster, more linear thinking.
Oh, my man, we are really alive. I've always loved you, but boy, does that one hit. I really believe, actually, just to give people value here, I genuinely actually believe this without hyperbole. I believe almost every corporate meeting is double the size of what it's needed is.
In time and people.
By the way, it's why I have a lot of I do a ton of 15s.
Yeah.
And in many environments, including my own career for a long time, those were 30s. And look, when you're trying to accomplish things and get things done, that adds up in a very nice way.
Let's talk about the most important thing first. What do we think about the Jets pick last night?
I was pumped. Last night was a tricky night. The Knicks lost to the Sixers, so it was a little grumpy on that. But I have a sports agency, Vayner Sports, and we recruited Olu for 2.5 years, so we know the kid inside out. I think he's really good. I'm super pumped with the pick.
That's great. That's great. One other just quick political thing, because we're not going to talk politics, but you were born in Belarus. You immigrated over here in 3 years, and just thoughts on what's going on in the Ukraine, or just from a guy who's just kind of comes from that region,
Bro, you know what's so crazy? Like, I was a really poor student, which was rare, by the way, for immigrants coming to the U.S. during the 80s and that era. But I was always very good at history. I got really good grades in it. By far my best grades, besides gym class. I was a gym class hero.
By the way, they didn't even give grades in fucking gym. It was like pass or fail.
Hold on. Get me this, please, if you don't mind. No, can you grab it? It's the top one. I'm going to show you. I know this is probably audio podcast.
No, it's video also. It's video also.
Nope. On the other wall. The other wall. Closer to, nope. Right, there you go. That one. Top one. Bring it. Yeah, I need this. This is very important. I'm sorry, everyone who's listening, but I just grabbed my report card from high school.
Oh, that's Jesus.
Johnny, it's really small print, but I'm going to show you.
Okay.
There's only 4 A's on the report card in 4 years of high school, and they were all gym.
That's amazing. Well, good for you, my friend. That's something to be proud of. I love that you still have that report card. You should be proud of it.
So anyway, to answer your question, look, the world has always been complicated. Unfortunately, when I tell you I love humans, I love man, I love woman, I love humans. I really do. You've gotten to know me through the years. I really like people.
You care. Yeah.
I like them. But unfortunately, it's been proven over time that humans do have an incredible tribalism and are deeply ingrained in trying to find ways to not like each other. Gender, race, religion. I mean, even now what's going on, generational warfare. Like, you and I didn't grow up in an era where boomers hated Gen Z. Like, to make Gen Z and boomers go at each other, the world has a very good way of getting us to go against each other. And I like it when it's silly, like the Knicks and Sixers, and I hate all my Philly fans.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
That's silly stuff. That's fun banter. But unfortunately, people take that to real life stuff. And so what's going on? I mean, you have incredible wants and needs of a small group of individuals to recreate empires, to find reasons to hate, all grounded in deep insecurity, and it's really too bad. And to segue into what I know we're about to talk about, it happened twice again today, and it happened 12 times this week. You go into these big meetings. You and I were fortunate when we were running, when you ran your agency where I'm at now. Most of the meetings you're going to have are with CEOs and CMOs and like it's the big wigs, right? You're in a lot of meetings, but you're in a lot of meetings with the big wigs. And when I tell you, and a lot of them become your friends, just like
Of course, yeah.
through your career. And the first 5-10 minutes as you get back to wasting time in meetings, people settle in, and right away they're going into the politics of everything. Of course, that's the era we're in. It's more like the '60s, but it's funny. I have these CEOs and CMOs of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in the world spend the first 5 minutes as they put milk in their coffee, talking about how TikTok should be banned, or social media, or all this stuff of like the power of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg this, or Elon Musk this, the power of changing people's perception on things, which is what marketing and comms is.
Yeah.
So the first 5 minutes, Donnie, they tell me that these platforms are too powerful, must be regulated or shut down. And I see where I'm going. Right. And then we go into the meeting and they're like, Gary, I don't know if we should be investing that much into social media. I feel like I'm like, you just told me that social media is putting the democracy of America, one of the most powerful things in the world, on its knees. You don't think this sells lipstick?
That's amazing.
And I will say this only because it's like an honor to say it on your show, given your career. I'm even not surprised, but it is very clear as we sit here today together, organic social media creative,
Defined organic. You're talking about what
when you post,
people are posting their own stuff that they created.
But Coca-Cola and BMW and Donnie Deutsch and Gary Vaynerchuk and the Knicks, the organic creative,
yes.
Not with paid amplification like you and I grew up with where you make a good 30-second spot and then you pay media to amplify it.
That will drive it.
The organic creative
content will drive it.
Is now the most important skill set and variable in all of marketing. And when I tell you on a good day, Donnie, at a Church and Dwight, at an Audi, pick any of them, Toyota, on a good day, it's the 25th most important thing that these companies think about.
Incredible.
And that
I'm actually shocked. I'm out of the business because to me it's almost such obvious price of entry at this point. Like I always used to think. I think back to presentations I used to give, and you'd start with the strategy and everything, and then you'd show the big TV campaign, and then you go into newspaper, and at the very end, it's like, okay, here's the source. And I would assume it's completely opposite at this point. Like if I was running an agency, I would always start with the granular, because that's just the fucking world.
Yeah, but you were also good at what you did, meaning, you and I, even though we ended up having different chapters in our careers on the Madison Avenue game, I believe that this is why I think we've always kind of intuitively, and then we got to know each other more. We just care about where the attention is.
Yeah.
Like when I think back to the Big Idea, right? That's actually where we first met.
That's where was that your first TV appearance? Big Idea?
Yes.
I love it. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of that. That's a feather in my cap.
I was very honored to be on. When we, I remember watching from afar, and I'm like, this guy gets it. Like, he was smart enough to be on this platform. That's where all the business attention was.
Yeah.
And you weren't an ad; you were the actual content. It's funny. One of the things that you would get a kick out of, people say to me, at these stages at Cannes Lions, at all this stuff, our industry stuff. Gary, I get it, but man, people still watch sports, bro, on TV. You watch sports, Gary. I'm like, you're right, I do. Okay. I'm like, but I don't watch the commercials. Right? Like the Super Bowl, I think, is the most back to the new book, Day Trading Attention.
Right. Wait, let me hold it up on my end. Yeah. Let's get a double hit.
I think the Super Bowl is the most underpriced ad in marketing right now. Today.
Because it's the only fucking place where people lean into the advertising, and beyond the obvious exponential that you get in everything, it's literally it's the day America not only doesn't turn away from advertising, leans into advertising, and it's the only time it happens. And by the way, it's bullshit as far as the award shows and everything else. Completely different. Different. Yeah.
The reason that's right. The best ad in television is the Super Bowl. The worst ad is the Grammys, the Oscars, and the AFC and NFC championship.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're
Because
paying not Super Bowl dollars, but second best to Super Bowl dollars, and it's being consumed like an ad on any other day, like you're watching CSI.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. And so, it's these are the things. But what's interesting is everybody is really missing what you and I think what came intuitive to us, which is first you have to know where the attention is, and are you able to even get it? Right. The reason organic social, just to get very nerdy on anybody who's into this, social changed 3 years ago. It used to be like email marketing when I was building. Get as many people to follow you as possible, like I did, and then a percentage of them would see it.
Yes.
Now, Donnie, this might get you pumped. You might have to decide to get crazy and get 8 billion people to know who you are and get you would crush the new social media world.
All right, talk to me about it.
I'll tell you why. If you never even created a social media account for the last 15 years, even though I've been screaming about it, tomorrow you create an account and your first piece of content could literally reach millions of people if it hit with the audience.
So how does that, let me ask you a question, because I am on social media, not to your extent, but I have a nice following, and some of my stuff just connects, and all of a sudden I'll get, 50,000 likes, and at other times it'll be, 1/20th of that. And and it's not, and I always go, okay, is this content that much? I think people are always looking for a secret sauce formula. And basically you're saying there isn't. It's all, the play is the thing.
No, it's funny. What I would say is, there is. I mean, by the way, that's the main reason
that's the book, right?
There's real strategy behind it. But look, I think I'm not sure how many humans on earth were more pot committed for the last 15 years to figure this thing out.
Right.
And every day I miss on things that I would have thought I would have hit on. Mm-hmm. So it's humbling, which is amazing, which is a great way to play a game. It's like golf, right?
Yeah.
I think of social media.
It's a great analogy. Great analogy. Right. You're playing against yourself. Yeah. And it's a tough game, and you think you have it beat, you hit an amazing shot down the fairway, and then you're in the fucking rough and you're all fucked up. Right.
I view myself as like a top golfer in the world that didn't make the cut at the Masters because I had a bad weekend. Right. Like it is humbling. That being said, of course, people stumble into luck, of virality, and things of that nature. But just to take a step back before I go into detail, for every marketer, which I know a lot of will listen to this, it's really cool that there's so much science and art behind being great about this. And most people mail it in as matching luggage to their campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so my framework that we believe in is PAC, platforms and culture. So if you don't understand, there's 7 or so major social media platforms, right? Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, TikTok for now, we'll see what happens here, YouTube Shorts, Snapchat, LinkedIn is a place where you could go bananas.
Right.
And all of these platforms now have For You pages, just like TikTok did, meaning their algorithms are now extremely over-indexing towards the individual merit of the individual piece of content. Let me give you one immediately, Donnie. I think this is going to change your social media game. I am surprised, but I'm going to really push it. It's going to be such an aha for you and everyone who's listening. The first second of your video on social media is a staggering variable of its chance of being successful.
First second. Because as you know. Yeah. So what then has to happen? Because in a second, nothing can really be accomplished.
It seems like not, but tonight, when you just happen to look through your phone, pay attention for a second, be like, yeah, like a second or two, I got the, I don't care.
Right.
Oh, pretty person, I stop.
Yeah.
Oh, loud noise. Oh, visual, the thumbnail.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. It's real strategy.
Yeah.
It's, but then the next 3 to 4 seconds really matter, because you're really that first second gives you 100th of a hope. And then the next 3 to 4 seconds really can either hook them or not.
Yeah. So what gives tips for somebody out there? So what are the important, and there's no simple formula, but first second, first 4 seconds, simplicity.
I'll give you one right now.
Okay.
I'll just go through it right now in my phone on the spot, because it's fun doing this with you, really being a practitioner.
Right.
I'm just opening my Instagram, for example, right now. And the first thing is maybe a trade. Did something just happen? Sources, the 49ers have listened to calls for Deebo Samuel. Okay. So now that blue update.
Yeah.
When I opened it, my eye went right there. The blue, this, you're going to love this. It's, what's so funny? When people really listen to me in advertising, the OGs that are still in the game, it's funny. let's say very senior people coming from very big companies that are coming here for the first time. A lot of them come with cynicism and be like, let me see if this is all bullshit, right?
And then their like eyes start to open.
They listen for an hour and they're like, wait a minute, this feels like very tried and true. I'm like, it is.
Yeah. It's the
I
same
believe
form.
in the principles. Yeah. Like when I look at this, I imagine myself in the 1957, like in Madison Avenue, going over someone saying, move that because it's not going to hit in the New York Post tomorrow because you need to, when they turn it, you got to stop.
Yeah.
It's print advertising.
Yeah. The first second is print advertising. That's a great analogy. And so
or like the way this update hits,
it's up there. By the way, if that didn't have that word update in there, it would just be another fucking thing. And like you think, maybe there's something new I don't know about the Niners.
Watch this. Ironically, this video is going to be of me in a second. Here we go. Oh, yep.
Post yesterday, Vine?
Right, so it starts with Elon's post yesterday.
Yeah.
Post yesterday. Vine.
Elon's post.
Yeah.
Those are the first words out of my. It wasn't even me. I was on someone else's podcast. They did a good job. Elon's post yesterday.
Wow.
Right. This goes back to jingle copywriting for radio.
Yeah. Or the burst in the ad that it's just we got to get you the first thing that you see.
Donnie, it's really wild. The only thing that's changed is the mediums, and what ended up happening is now you have an entire industry at the Droga Fives, at the Wyden Kennedys, at the Crispin Porters. They're derivatives of your early era and obviously the OGs that we saw in Mad Men, and they're in this half pregnant environment of like half Mad Men era, half overvaluing big data, don't even know what the
fuck big data is. That's the amazing thing. Here's analytics. What the fuck are you talking about?
So you'll appreciate this analogy, I think. Right now, current Fortune 500 advertising looks like vanilla Frankenstein. I call it vanilla Frankenstein because it has all these particles that are disjointed and they don't really understand because some of it's new tech, some of it's like old school. They work out brand. Everything's got to be on brand, which means it's the opinion of 3 people in a boardroom. Right. And it's vanilla. If you're going to do TV first, when Toyota does its brand positioning, Toyota's current brand positioning, Donnie, is let's go places.
Right.
That means, as you know, because you did this for a living and I've done it for a living, that means they can actually come up with anything. Because in theory, let's go places can be physically or mentally.
Right. Let's go places. You can be anything. And that's the good news and the bad news about that.
Bingo. Yeah. And so it's all vanilla. Yeah. So anyway, what my thesis that I'm putting on the industry is, look, there's 7. This is now the television.
Right. Absolutely.
Not the radio.
Right.
The television's the radio.
He's holding up his iPhone. Okay. For those.
Yep. And on the iPhone, there are 7 channels that matter. Just like pre-cable.
There were 7.
ABC,
there were 7.
ABC.
It was actually, that's ironic. Wow. What a great little tidbit factoid that we're in the same exact place, 7 fucking channels.
And the job of all of us, Donnie Deutsch and Gary Vaynerchuk currently right this minute are actually trying to be Lucille Ball and Bob Hope. Like as a personality, I'd like to be big on ABC, NBC, CBS. And the brands are trying to do what Procter & Gamble did, which is integrate commercials into
same formula.
And that's it.
And the ones that tell the best stories win.
Forever and ever. Yeah. But the problem is Madison Avenue, current agencies, they tell stories in the format of a commercial for PR or for an award at Cannes.
Can I just say this? When I was in the business, I always said fuck awards. I used to go to clients and say, you're not going to win awards here. The only thing I care about is an FE or whatever, something that's going to affect me.
Right.
And when I would see somebody in my office going through awards books at the time, they used to put out award. I go, what the fuck are you doing? What are you I'm going to go to a client, look at this creative award. No. What am I doing for you? It's not what I'm doing for me.
That's because you were a businessman and you knew if their business was good, that'd be good for your business. But as you know, for creatives, if they win an award, then another agency wants to hire them.
That's
it's
one more reason.
Aligned interest.
Yes.
Right. So, but my big thing is the problem now is the biggest companies in the world are losing market share because they keep over investing in traditional creative and fake media reporting, impressions. You know this, the PR companies. I mean, look, one of the companies I most admire, Edelman, right? Independent, global, big. But like, the Weber Shandwicks, the Edelmans, they sell PR impressions. They're fake numbers.
Yeah.
Just because you got to mention in a newspaper, you didn't get 28 billion impressions.
Right. You got your name showed up in a newspaper.
They take the circulation of a newspaper and multiply it by 40,000 in case somebody drops it at a bus stop.
Yeah.
as if anyone even saw your mention in page 19 of a newspaper.
Yeah.
What is even a newspaper now?
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing.
So anyway, I think that marketing has gone from lots of smart thinking by lots of smart people. I would call it mutual fund buying. Like if you have an investor, like you do a lot of thinking, you get to a presentation, you make a decision. And now I think it's day trading. Like you're buying by the nanosecond.
So let's go back to some news you can use. We started doing some practical stuff. So I'm somebody, I'm starting a new business or whatever reason I want to build my personal brand. And I know, okay, I'm supposed to go on TikTok. I'm supposed to go here. I'm supposed to go here. Now you've got every human being in the world playing in the same swimming pool. And so what do the smart guys do to win?
They create cohorts. They know who, you're going to love this, consumer segmentation, but not 18 to 35. That's ludicrous.
Right.
More like let's talk about how I do it. I know that a certain group I always want to make content for are 22 to 25-year-old men and women just getting out of college, because I've come to learn through my journeys, very anxious years.
And I'm going to say it probably skews 65% men out of that group.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Very, very impressive. Right. So for me, I know I'm making content. So if I'm going to make a video, I know I'm going to talk about their dynamics with their parents. Maybe, hey, kids, get off the parents' payroll. Because if you don't want your parents to have say in your life at 25, the only reason they have say is because they're giving you money. And the second you don't take money from them, you don't have to actually answer to them anymore because you're a grown up. Yeah. But as long as you're taking money from mom and dad, they may have a little more say in your life because you don't want to upset them, because you don't want that faucet to stop. Because I knew who I was making that video for, that video is going to have a better chance of being successful, because I'm not just trying to make a video for everyone. That was made for that person.
Oh, wait. They called that targeting back when I grew up. You know.
Go figure. But unlike when it was television, you would buy MASH or Seinfeld or Dallas.
Now you're creating the content based on the audience versus the other way around.
The data's so much better, Donnie. Yeah. And now you can target gender, race. It's unbelievable how you can make this stuff. And if you come from that. But then the other thing that happens is, so for anybody who's listening, if you're a flower shop, you can literally run $30 on Meta, Facebook or Instagram, on a 5-mile radius of your store with your content.
Amazing.
5-mile radius. So now you're doing direct mail plus television for the cost of nothing, Donnie. But it's just nothing.
Yeah.
And you post it. Now here's where it gets fun. It's the reverse of the way we grew up, Donnie. You post it and the algorithm will take it and it will go. You posted it organically. If it goes well, then you pour money on it. So if you're a local business, you may want to pour money on it right away, because look, if you have a great flowers video and you're in Short Hills, New Jersey, but everybody who's watching it is in California, Arkansas, your business is not conducive to getting that business. Right. You may want to do the paid media local. But if you're someone who's just trying to build brand, you have a .com and you're selling all over the world your chocolate bar. Well, you're just posting it. And if the 7th one does well, then you're taking your media dollars and you're amplifying it.
Yeah. What percentage of the clients that come in today have any idea about this when they walk in the door? I mean, they know social media and this and that. I got to put my word. But what percent of clients actually understand
I'll break it down for you. You'll appreciate this. This is why I wrote the book this time. We're in a crazy place, and this is going to make sense to you because I know you pay attention. In the Fortune 500 ecosystem, truly Fortune 500, where Deutsche and Vayner play,
right.
0.
Yeah, amazing.
Because their KPIs, their MMMs, their MMAs, all the reporting, all the justification, none of it. The systems, right?
What they do for Walmart. It's the upstarts that have it weaved into their formula.
I'm going to break it down for you. From the Fortune 5001 to the Fortune 5000, call that private equity-backed businesses, right. Things of that nature. 5%. It should be way higher. Right. That set is missing the mark. In the venture capital-backed CPG direct-to-consumer businesses, 30%. That's why you see things like Poppy. That's why you see the Logan Paul and KSI Prime Energy drink. I'm sure there's been things with your circles, people throw at you and be like, do you know this brand? Like these, or personalities like Dr. Becky, right. like these things that people are seeing that are hitting. And then the crew that most knows it, which is wild, is individual human beings, whether they're building it for their personal brand or their very small.
Oh yeah,
business.
I would go to my 16-year-old daughter if I asked her how to do, okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but how do I do this?
And where she'll crush is on the C in pack culture. She knows what's happening. She's like, Dad, this Swedish candy store downtown is killing it, or Ralph Lauren's, mocha is like, or the Cronut, or Mad Happy is a hot hoodie. Like, she'll know culture.
Yeah.
What she won't know is that on Instagram right now, it's better to post a 2-post carousel than just posting a video.
What's a 2-post carousel?
You know, when you post on Instagram and like there's multiple pictures or videos in it with posts?
Yes, yeah, okay.
What she won't know is, I'll show you my account. You know, you look at my account, my grid, and it looks like schizophrenia.
Yeah. But this
is what drives everyone crazy about me from the outside that doesn't know anything about social media. They think that this is off brand. It's all over.
No, that's brand. That's your brand, because that's where you're going to all these different places. And you sometimes you're a psychologist, sometimes you're a business consultant, sometimes you're just a sports fan, and all the above,
That's right. What I also know is that 96% of the content is being consumed in the grid individually, not people going to my profile and consuming the grid.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Wait,
what was that? What movie was that from?
Let me give you this. So like this, I also know that I have to use a trending sound on Instagram, and the carousel has multiple quotes because it will show up. I know that me talking about a green screen of something, because that picture went crazy from the Knicks game, so I talk over it.
Right.
This format does well versus just posting the picture. I know this one does well because I'm asking people to ask questions and answer questions. Watch this data, Donnie. You're going to love this. So this is a post that I've created recently that's really working. Ask one group to ask a question, ask the other group in my community to answer it. This post has 2,298 responses. The post prior to it has 313.
Right.
That people engaging with it shows the algorithm that there's interest, which will show it to more people. You're going to love this one. For the first time in marketing history, the creative is creating the reach.
Yes, that's well put.
I mean, that, for you and I, that's like absurd.
Yeah.
It's
really dry.
platform.
And there's an irony, because to the average outside observer of quote marketing and selling, they would probably say, "Oh, I think it's the reverse now. It's being driven by the system and the pipes, and that it's basically everything is technology now, and everything is the media. The media is driving the content, and ironically, more than ever, it's the content driving the media."
As you know, somebody had to say yes to the Donnie Deutsch show.
Yes,
somebody had to buy. You had Donnie Deutsch, when you were running it, you had to buy the media to get that 30-second video of a big client of yours commercial. You were actually dictating it. Now it's a complete meritocracy. And everybody wants to talk about Mark Zuckerberg being the Wizard of Oz or China manipulating the kids. It's a fucking meritocracy. People don't want to hear it. Listen, I was born in a communist country. I don't put anything past world powers, not America, not Russia, not China. But what people don't understand, taking it away from politics, in the mundane, BMW today does not have the same power it used to with money. Right now, if you're good at making content on social, if you understand the principles, if you understand the first second, if you understand the copy, if you understand the tactics, if you understand the platforms, I'll give you one right off the presses. Snapchat has a part of Snapchat that is more similar to TikTok. Okay, I'm going to sign into my Snapchat because I would just want you to see it. So there's a part of Snapchat, right, that is called Spotlight, that acts more like TikTok and Instagram,
right.
The organic reach on it is exploding these couple weeks because a lot of kids are starting to get nervous that TikTok's going to go away,
and they need a new home.
So they're starting to hang out at Snapchat and get used to it.
Will you explain to young people that it's a $250 billion business? TikTok is not going away. It will just be. There's too much money. There's too much American money. There's too much Chinese money. It will just be in different hands.
Look, I will say this: it went away in India. I personally, Donnie, am going to take a different tack. I actually don't think China will. I don't think China's going to allow ByteDance to sell it in America.
Really?
I think they want.
Interesting.
I believe it's in China's interest to create the social unrest in America.
Of course it is. That's the whole issue. Yeah.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
For China, $1 trillion is a pimple on the ass.
Yeah. No, I guess you're right. I stand corrected.
You know what I mean? I could be wrong. We'll see how it plays out.
No,
but
that's exactly. By the way, that's exactly what as a geopolitical enemy they should be doing. I mean, it sounds sleazy, but that's what we do. It's us against them, and they're like, oh,
Right.
wow, we've gotten into the minds. We get into the minds of young people. Maybe we want to incite problems, so we're going to give 50 times more videos about Hamas than we are about Israel and get everybody going.
But and listen, as you can imagine, this starts getting into territory that like is for over a bottle of wine. You and I
hear you.
I don't think people jump on headlines, and especially in this political environment, I don't think people are paying attention to what's happening on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And these are U.S. based. By the way, that's the biggest danger of this whole thing. As someone who's born in a communist country, I tell my dear American friends that I'm an American. It's this, historical truth. This is a slippery slope. First, you ban something that's a foreign entity that's bad for America, and then you ban something in America that's bad for America.
Yeah.
Listen, you and I have been around the block enough to know, like, they forget about the briefcase that had the names of all the communists inside of America,
right?
And the Trump, right?
Yeah.
They forget.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're not going to. You and I could spend 97 hours on the politics of all this stuff.
97 hours. But I would say this because I know with us two on this, who's showing up for here. Let me say this for the marketers and for the entrepreneurs. For the entrepreneurs, good news. The companies that Donnie and I have worked for and currently work for are missing the mark. They really genuinely are. We've done a great job and built our company, but we're still very small in the marketing ecosystem of a Publicis and Omnicom and the holding companies. There are ungodly amounts of money being thrown directly in the trash by the biggest companies in the world. And so for the kids that are listening, this is the hugest opportunity ever because you can actually fight with the biggest companies in the world. And if you start a pretzel brand or a peanut butter or a deodorant, your fighting chance is so much more.
There was a complete barrier to entry. Now, there's one thing that's so important that you talk about a lot that young people have to understand is authenticity. You can't say, oh, this one's doing it that way, so that's the way to do it. That is, I think, more of the sniff test now than anything else.
Ever. They smell it out. Like, you're not going to win. And by the way, it's not fun to not be your authentic self. Yeah. It's stressful. It's boring. It's not sustainable. You're absolutely right. So there's that. And then for the Fortune 500 CMOs or CEOs or the board members or C-suite, look, the activist investors, this, big business land, the activist investors, they're going to figure this out pretty soon.
Yeah.
That most of the biggest companies are
just
wasting 90 cents on the dollar, and they're going to come in and they're going to swoop in. And so I tell all the Fortune 500 CEOs and CMOs, and I talk to them constantly. I'm like, you better fix this before it gets fixed for you.
Yeah. What's the reaction to that usually?
Donnie, I think you'll understand this because I know. Obviously, we didn't cross paths at the same time, but this is what a lot of people revered about you as well. I think when you have the luxury of shooting it straight,
it's what they want because they don't get it anywhere else. That is the number one thing they want: someone to be fucking honest with them.
And I think a lot of the friendships you made and the ones I'm forming now, they knew we were right back. They knew you were right back then, and they know that I'm right now. But they realize their system can't change. I met with two people retiring from two of the 5 biggest CPG companies in the world this week. Separate companies. They don't know each other. They're both in their last 6 months. For years, they would eat. I didn't know either. For years, they told me they wouldn't even consider working with me because it seemed too crazy, this, that, and the other thing. And they're like, it's so ironic, isn't it now, Gary, that I'm here in this office with you because I'm asking you for help for my next chapter because now I need it to actually work.
Yeah. It's not just line items anymore. And for the next board meeting, and I don't have the patience to explain to these 90-year-old board members why we're moving all of our money in this way. And now it's got to work. That's amazing. That's great.
When merit takes over, people go to social media. When politics of corporate America take over, people do television and billboards.
I want to talk to you about Factor. If you want to eat healthy, eat conveniently, eat the right way, you want Factor. Look, this warmer weather is coming. You can meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Protein Plus, Keto, Calorie Smart, Factor Fresh's never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. I've tried these things. They're fantastic. They really are. So no matter how busy you are, you always have time for a nutritious, great tasting meal. We've got 35 different meals to choose from with 60 add-ons. You can hit your wellness goals with many dietitian approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Treat yourself to restaurant quality meals and feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. The blackened salmon is amazing. I highly recommend it. Keep your kitchen time to a minimum. Meals are ready in up to 2 minutes. So this is a great lifestyle choice. You can maximize your protein intake, minimize calories, just keep you healthy, keep it easy. I'm telling you got to try Factor. Head to factormeals.com/Donnie50 and use the code Donnie50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code Donnie50 at factormeals.com/Donnie50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Factor. You've been a real advocate. You talked about young people, particularly young men.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's so much data and study today about the disenfranchisement of young men and all how things are stacked against them. Yep. My good friend Scott Galloway just wrote a book about how the transfer of wealth going in the wrong direction. And what's your give me the optimistic side of what you're seeing with young people today.
The optimistic side is very optimistic, but it starts with incredible accountability. There is not a capable young man and or woman on earth in the world we now live in where there's less barriers stopping you from what you want than ever that won't get there on earth. Donnie, the biggest issue with young men, if I'm going to stay in the pocket of your question, especially in America, is they're entitled as fuck.
Yeah.
Brother, I see killer 25-year-old guys who are Hispanic, Black, White, Asian, Indian, crushing right now, Donnie.
Yeah.
But they all look the same. Their mommy and daddy didn't make it so goddamn easy for them.
Yeah. No.
Donnie,
we had the luxury. We had the luxury of being hungry.
100%. And even if we had, we grew up in an era where even if your parents had it solid, they made you work.
They were, I grew up very comfortable. My parents didn't give me shit. I mean, they gave me access to a great education. Yeah. And, then they were like, figure it out, because
they were smart enough to know that even if they were going to hook it up, if they just gave it to you, remember in our era, people borrowed money from parents?
Yeah.
Borrowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That was a very common thing, right? You would borrow, you'd get married and you'd borrow a little money to get an apartment and you'd pay your parents back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a foreign, that's an incredibly foreign concept.
That doesn't exist. I wouldn't think to do it. So how do you, what's I've talked to you as a dad now. So now how devoted you are to your kids.
Yep.
I'm going to give myself a solid A- as the dad, and where I don't get an A is because my kids I have daughters, they're entitled, and they're great kids, but they've grown up a certain way, and I don't know how to. I put some of that toothpaste back in the bag, back in the tube.
Right.
Yeah,
that's it. Look, I say to all my friends, and I've gotten very fortunate. I also live in an environment where I came to this country, lived in a studio apartment in Queens with 7 family members. Now I go to courtside at Knicks games.
Yeah,
I mean, that is
I had the pleasure of sitting next to you. And
yes, that's right.
Are those your seats, or you move around?
I move around.
Yeah. I'll see you at Game 5.
I can't wait, boy. Can't wait. I tell all my friends that have been forward, especially, you can imagine this will make sense to you. I have so many friends because they know my story and I know theirs. The ones that really, really didn't come from much, as you can imagine, they really struggle with this conversation because they're petrified of it. Yeah. And I just tell all my friends, I'm like, you can't fake environment. You can't send your kid to Africa to build a school and think they're going to have, gratitude and humility. Like all you can do is raise kids that have good principles and you continue to remind them that it's not their money.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else. I think, you want them to be good human beings because
I start with good human beings. That's your main job is to be a good human being. Second job is to do your best in school. We'll figure everything else from there.
Listen, I say, I have a different thing with my kids. I can't bullshit. I put out 48 million videos.
Sure, right. About school doesn't matter. Right.
The school, I'm like, be self-aware. My daughter is annihilating it in school in one of the toughest schools. And I'm like so proud of her. I just want them to be, honestly, to be frank, I want them to be passionate about their life the way I am. And I don't need them to be an entrepreneur. They could be a nonprofit worker. They could be a farmer. They could be a hairdresser. They could be a coin trader. I don't literally happy, but please have passion
and
in
be
what
doing
you do.
And I think what you're probably teaching them also, because it's such a big part of you, is giving back and caring. And like so much of your content, and it's real. I'm going to go back to authentic is. And when I see you talking to young people at conferences and you see, like, you fucking care. You want it to work for them. You're not out there selling shit. You're selling them and them on themselves.
Honestly, you'll appreciate this because I know you're the byproduct of good parenting as well. I got really fucking fortunate in the parenting.
I did too.
Brother.
I was 2 for 2.
My mom.
I was 2 for 2.
I was 2 for 2 too. And I got it in the right order. I got my mom hardcore for the first 15 years because my dad was working in the liquor store building the American dream for himself. So I got all that love, unconditional love, but my mom held me very accountable. Like if I got out of line, see ya.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my father, I started working in the liquor store every weekend, every summer vacation when I was 14. And I got the hard work, the kind of like the tenacity. And I'll tell you what my dad did. I like giving him this rose. I had so much gift of gab, like you.
Right.
That when I was 9 or 10, I could sell forget about kids, I could sell any teacher and parent on anything I wanted accomplished. Right. And you don't know how to calibrate that power. And what my father did for me at 14, he scared me straight on the following. Your word is bond and no embellishing. I remember this vividly. I want to give my dad some flowers. He called, we wrapped up the day in the liquor store. 12 hours. I'm fucking 15. 12 hours, 9 to 9 in the store, on my feet, no lunch, no breakfast, like immigrant shit. Right. He told me when I got there, you need to sell this Kenwood Chardonnay. He told me what to sell, right? He's like, I got to move some cases this. I'm like, I got you, Dad. I was me, right?
Yeah.
We get in the car at 9 fucking 15 to drive home, close up the store, put the money away. He goes, how many cases did you sell? I'm like, Dad, I crushed today. I was like, I sold 29 cases. Okay. Next day, Sunday, I didn't work in the store. It was a Sunday. Monday, my dad Tuesday, I remember vividly. Tuesday, not even the Monday, because I didn't see him that morning. And he came home late after I went to sleep. Tuesday morning, because as I was going to school and he was going to work, he came up to me and scared me shitless. He goes, when I ask you how many cases, you tell me the real number. You didn't sell 29.
You probably told us 27.
No, it wasn't even that close. He said, you said 19 and a half. And what happened is I was gift of gab embellishment man then.
You start to believe your own shit, and you actually probably even talked yourself into it.
I thought it was not like I was trying to trick him. I just thought it was 20. I didn't care to the detail, and I would always shoot high. It was like, that guy. And it really helped me because I do wonder if I didn't have my father, and I didn't have him from 14 to 18 when I was still moldable, that would have I been a worse version of myself? A little bit more bullshit, a little bit more.
Interesting. So you got from both. I got from both also. I pinched myself. I just lost my mom a few months ago, but Gary, I'm going to let you go because you got your son's basketball game.
Exactly.
What a pleasure talking to you. You're one of my favorite guys around. You just fucking get it. You're a decent soul. You're loving what you're doing, and I get pumped talking to you. The book is Day Trading Attention. How to actually build your brand when sales in the new social media world. It is a must read. I don't care if you're an expert or an ex-expert like me, or you're just starting out and building something. You need this book. This is a must read book. Gary V, stay well, my friend. I'll see you at the next game, all right?
Stay well.
Everybody, thanks for watching. If you like it, hit that subscribe button. And we love having you here watching On Brand. And just don't miss any future episodes. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.